hallway hold up a sign that says "I love Lucifer," there's a problem and it needs to be addressed. Our society is shaped by our morals and beliefs. Our morals and beliefs are influenced by what we watch, read, and hear. What's acceptable in our society today was once completely unacceptable not even 50 to 60 years ago. That's greatly due to what has been transmitted to us over time. We've had a very subtle but definitely steady decline in our standards of acceptance in regards to things like sex, violence, language, blasphemy, etc. And that's all because of what has been presented by mass media through formats like music, movies, video games, television, sports, etc. We have become completely desensitized to things our grandparents' generation, as a majority, found completely inappropriate for mass consumption. You must understand the global elite, the members of these secret societies, and the people of the occult that are working towards a specific agenda are obsessed with symbolism and numerology. One of the globalist elite favorite strategy is to leave blueprints to their plans hidden right in plain sight. They tell us what they're planning and where the world is going, but they also know the majority is not paying attention. Think about it. Look at the movies that speak about the future. A majority of movies about the future portray some kind of global government or global catastrophe. From all these messages, and the symbolism specifically, we are constantly reminded by these occultists, Satanists, Illuminati, Freemasons, or however you want to classify them as a whole, that we are accepting their system and they are in control. The symbols communicate allegiance of the person displaying the symbol, or just simply to know whose agenda this is a part of. So now that all the preliminary info is given, I can now start explaining these symbols. If there are things about symbolism that you still do not understand, not about the symbol directly, but why they matter so much or are dangerous, if you leave your question in the comments, I can maybe address it in future videos. But I think you have at least a foundation on symbolism right now. The best thing you can do is to have knowledge, and if you're still watching, that's what I will be trying to provide you. Let's begin. The all-seeing eye. I'm covering this symbol because this is something that is probably thrown at you everywhere, and while many of us recognize it, how many can really say they really understand what it is? It's on the back of our dollar bill. We see entertainers and top stars constantly displaying it. But again, where does it come from, and what does it mean? It's communicated in different forms. Sometimes it's a single eye within a pyramid, just like what's on the dollar bill of what they call the Great Sale of the United States. It's also just presented as a single eye by itself. It's one eye, and people show it in many ways. I mean, look at my son's Mario game on the iPad. They give it everywhere. It's also referred to as your third eye. It's symbolized in multiple different ways, but at the root, it means one thing. In a short summary, this is just a representation of Lucifer. It's the eye of Lucifer. When you see this, it simply represents Lucifer. But here's more background information. It's supposed to reference God watching over mankind, only it's not the God of Israel. It's also reference to the eye of providence. The eye itself is a powerful symbol, going back to ancient roots in Egypt, also known as the Eye of Horus. If you've seen part 1 of my History of Religion series, you will know exactly who Horus is. The Eye of Horus, often seen with an eyebrow above, represents the supposed omnipresent vision of the sun god Horus. It also represents secret or occult wisdom. This eye was painted on the sides of Egyptian funerary caskets in the hope that it would enable the corpse to see its way through the journey of the afterlife. The eye itself is often associated with the idea of light and spirit. It is often referred to as the mirror of the soul. The eye is representing God within. Like the third eye, for example. The third eye signifies the higher self, the part of man's consciousness that is ego-free and can guide and direct him. Our other two primary eyes are used for outward vision, while the third eye in the center is the eye of wisdom. It supposedly directs its view internally. This is why you always see the Buddha with this third eye, or you hear others talking about opening their third eye. The all-seeing eye within Freemasonry is shown in the triangle with rays of light emanating from the lower lid. The Masonic Dictionary says it is an important symbol of the Supreme Being, the sign of omniscience. In Freemasonry, it stands for the Great Architect of the Universe. So we see the symbol used in many different ways, but all very similar. At the core, and foundation of what you are seeing is actually Lucifer. Anytime you see this reference to one eye, they are referencing Lucifer, and that's why all the meanings of the symbol all closely align with the spiritual knowledge of good and evil that the serpent promised Eve if she disobeyed Elohim. This knowledge includes the knowledge that Satan is the god of this world who rewards them that serve and worship him. So understand that anytime you are seeing this eye, it represents Lucifer and his false knowledge. Anyone that says they're opening their third eye is actually tapping into the knowledge of Lucifer. When you see the stars and actors doing the one eye symbol, the masses just sum it up as representing that they are part of the Illuminati. What they are actually representing is their allegiance to Lucifer. So anytime you see the symbol in all or different forms, you're seeing a representation of Lucifer, and that's why the symbol is seen everywhere. You need to understand this and teach your kids that too. This symbol has no effect on my youngest son because he sees it everywhere and points it out. He recognizes evil and is not giving him tolerance of Lucifer. Like I tried to explain in the long intro, it's not that you will be worshiping Lucifer yourself, but that you are gaining a tolerance for him, and also that you're being prepared for his arrival on the scene. This isn't about a secret society like the Illuminati. They are preparing the world for Satan, and the more you see the symbol and gain tolerance of it, you are gaining tolerance and acceptance of him. If you have opened the third eye, you have allowed a demon in, and you need to remove it. This is what the symbol means. The horned hand, or El Diablo. This symbol is just full of deception, because over time it has been used for many different things. At one time, people thought it was a symbol for rock and roll, or it was a sign to ward off the evil eye. It has a lot of different names, but what it represents is again very simple. And before I explain it, listen to what Anton LaVey, founder of the Church of Satan, has to say about it.
Would you like me to show them how the sign of the curse works?
Sign of the curse?
Completely different.
How does it go?
No, not at you people out there in the audience, but this is the difference.
Aim it toward Red China, would you?
This is the sign of the horns. A curse sign, the two fingers extended. This way, spread apart for sort of shotgun blast, you know.
I always
all over,
figured if I ever met the devil, he'd have dirty fingernails. Go on.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Where?
Dirty fingernails.
Well, that's because I've been fooling around with your equipment.
Never mind. Don't blame it on the studio. Go on with it.
All right.
So that's the sign of the horn, and then what happens? Is that it?
Well, there are other ones, too.
Yeah, what are the other ones?
The other ones, one of them's the pox sign. That's 3 fingers extended.
A pox on you?
A pox on you. During the Middle Ages, this was...
Yeah. Oh, yes.
But
You're
originally...
a bad cat.
Well, you have to be bad to be good, don't you?
Is it true that you teach people how to make voodoo dolls and stick pins in them to hurt people?
That's right. I believe that hate is necessary in a controlled way just as much as love is necessary.
He calls it the sign of the curse. And listen, if that doesn't do it for you, knowing that you may be using a sign or have tolerance of a sign that the founder of the Church of Satan uses as well, then you may need more understanding than this video can provide. This symbol is used in a few different ways. The hand gesture is shown like this, with the thumb in, and like this, with the thumb out. Most people like to say that, no, this sign means I love you in sign language. But all one needs to do is a small amount of research, and you will find that Helen Keller was a Satanist and a Theosophist. This is easily proven by reading from her books. She was a published author. One of her books, originally called My Religion, published in 1927, later was revised in 1994 and called Light in My Darkness. Read from this book, and you can see her beliefs are guided through Satan and not Elohim, spreading that false light. So anyway, this sign is not a sign for I love you, but more in fact a sign for I love you, Satan. This sign is called the horned hand and is believed to be the depiction of the woolly goat of Mendes or Baphomet. It is synonymous with Satan or Lucifer. It is done in 3 ways with the hand. This type is meant for the right hand. In this gesture, the thumb should be kept under the clenched middle and ring fingers. This hand sign signifies the horn god of witchcraft. Again, this is Satan. The second type of gesture is meant for the left hand. In this case, the thumb should be kept over the middle and ring fingers. This hand sign is usually used to curse someone by pointing it directly towards the person. This is what Anton LaVey referenced as the sign of the curse. Then there's the way of I love you, or rock and roll. These signs are used in so many different ways, but again, like the all-seeing eye, it is all a reference to Lucifer. One way, if pointed at you, literally can mean someone is trying to place a curse upon you. The other two ways is in reference to allegiance to Satan. This is a symbol that many want to ignore the underlying meaning and make it represent what they want it to, because over time it just has many different meanings. They have this sign shown through many people, and because you think it can mean different things, you may give the person using this sign a pass and say they must mean it in a good way. Let me explain. There are no good ways in showing this sign. It 100% is reference to Satan. If you are using it and think it means something different to you, you have been deceived. This is a satanic symbol with many different names. I have the names listed on my website. You need to be aware. There can be much more said about this because it's used so much. But if you recognize the 3 ways it's used with the hand, and every time you see it, you see a representation of Lucifer, you are awake on what it means, and we are bringing down its power against society one by one. So in conclusion of this part, you have really understood symbolism and why and how it's used. But you also learned about 2 of the most used signs that literally is referencing Satan. Whenever you see these symbols used, even if you want to give the person displaying the symbol the benefit of the doubt, please know that the symbol means Lucifer, and you cannot afford to be deceived. I want you to have no tolerance for Lucifer, and instead of being desensitized by his influence, you should now be sensitive to it. When you see a representation of Lucifer all over, and then you see so many influencers promoting him, it's very easy to see how far into darkness the world has really gotten. You need to have knowledge of what's going on, and then be saved by the blood of Yahshua to really fight the spiritual battles that these symbols are provoking. If you've opened your third eye, either by accident, knowingly, or unknowingly, you need to rebuke it in the name of Yahshua and close that spiritual door. For time purposes, I only covered these 2 symbols, but I will be covering a lot more in other videos. My only goal is to educate you and give you power. What you do with it is your decision, but I hope that you use it to serve Yahweh and commit your life to Him. The more evil you see the world, the more conviction you'll have not to be swayed by it. If you are not subscribed to this channel, please make sure you do. If this blessed you, please like it and share it with others. This isn't just a video calling out sellouts because of hand gestures and symbols. You should now be educated on what you're seeing. Please follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you for watching. Thanks again for your support. I love you all.